G'day ladies and gentlemen, Duckville here bringing you a cast from the NA server. This is going to be a TVP. It's going to be featuring one of the local players from Australia, our own Calzone Terran. It is in GameCon NV's Rossi, down at the bottom right hand side here of Entombed. His opponent, as I mentioned, a Protoss player up at the top right, is going to be Root Gaming's TT1, of course. TT1, a player who is certainly one of the really good Protoss in the scene. He's of course came second at MLG Dallas 2010, I believe. Unfortunately, falling to Jinro at the time, and now recently joining up with Root Gaming, and hopefully those guys will be producing some really good games. Rossi, meanwhile, as I said, he did quite nicely at WCS Australia. And showed some really good games, and we'll see what he gets up to here. He's a player he's one of those few players. In fact, now that I think about it, we've actually got a few players down here in Australia that have only ever played StarCraft 2 as a competitive RTS. So it's quite interesting to see that Rossi is another one of them. But we'll find out what he gets up to here. He is, of course, as I said, the Calzone Terran, said to have many layers to his play. I'm sure the fellow Aussie players will know all what I'm talking about here. But yeah, we'll find out what goes down here on Entombed Valley, a bit of a map where you can lead into macro games, because of course you've got this relatively easy to take natural expansion. Your third is also quite easy. The only issue you've got to deal with are those destructible rocks here. And sort of once you get past that point, the fourth becomes an interesting issue as to whether you sort of go for one of these. Maybe if you're really daring, you want to go for one of the ones in the center. But of course, that is very much the very late game. Now, actually, speaking of late games, if you want to see one of the best Terran vs. Zerg games pretty much ever, go onto the ACL Pro YouTube channel, jump on there, look for Moonglade versus Nightlight. Which is also on Entombed Valley, one of the best TVZs ever. It was from WCS Oceania, which I was lucky to be in the crowd for. It was an absolutely amazing game. But anyway, aside from that, let's have a look at what Rossi's up to. He's just scouting around, finds TT1 on the first approach, gets inside here. He's going to see that the gateway is up, Cybernate's core on the way, a gas is also there, but only 2 probes mining that. I wonder if he caught that. But of course, with 2 probes going in there, you're getting I believe it's roughly 80% efficiency on your gas income. It's not actually a huge detriment to what you would normally see coming out of there, but that does mean that the Protoss is going to go for this quick expand. Of course, a 1-gate expand, pretty much the most popular way of playing PvT these days. You don't see too much 1-base stuff too often, but as we saw, a probe just sort of went through there for TT1. Did he actually see? No, he didn't see the command center down. So nice little bit of sort of counter scouting there from Rossi. He was able to get these Marines out, because as we can see, TT1's probe actually went to the wrong corners of the map first, so that was a bit unfortunate for him. But Rossi's going to expand quickly as well. Straight after that, first racks, he got the command center down. We got a second also on the way, and 2 gas is also up for him. So he's also got, was that intentional or not? I'm not sure, but he's also only got 2 in the left side of Vespane gas as well, so that's a little bit odd. But looks as if he is going to continue on getting out a few Marines. We've already got 4 at the front, a bunker going down, a tech lab and a reactor, so he's just going to follow up this with a little bit of tech, of course, coming out of that tech lab, and then going to be able to produce a fair amount of Marines as well. And here comes the Stalker. Stalker is just going to have a quick look up the ramp, takes a lot of damage for what it's worth, but the probe does get inside, and this signals to TT1 that he is okay to continue on with this expansion. Of course, if he got in, if he sort of got up here and saw that there was no bunker, there was no command center over here, he'd probably have to whack a couple of gates down just to make sure that he is very safe. Now, of course, with a 1-gate expand, you've got a few various transitions you can go to. You can do a 3-gate pressure, which is a very common way of pushing back on the Terrans, so that they have to be very defendy? That's a new word. They have to be very defended at the top of the ramp with a few bunkers and all that sort of thing to make sure that no sorts of gateway pressures can get up the ramp. But it looks as if TT1 is not going to go for that. It looks like he may go for a little bit of a later timing, perhaps with 1-1 that may get chrono boosted out of these 2 forges that he's also built as well. So we'll find out what happens. Unfortunately for TT1, an SCV gets inside and scouts out pretty much everything that is happening here. He's going to miss one of the gates, I think, but that's not going to be too much of an issue. No, he does actually get back just in time. The sentry not actually really doing its job there at all, which is quite hilarious. But so Rossi is going to be well aware of what's going on here. He puts down a factory. As we said, the tech is on the way there, researching stim, so that he's going to have a little bit of extra DPS coming out of the Marines and the Marauders. And a Stalker is going to try and poke into the middle here, but he's unfortunately going to get caught. Will he actually die though? Yes, he will. Good catch there from Rossi. Just to take down one Stalker at this early point of the game is certainly worth it. Of course, it enables you to put on some more pressure, means the Marauders are a little bit less sort of under the heat of the Stalkers, because of course the Stalkers do that extra damage against the Marauders. And so Rossi just checks up here, says, alright, is he going to go for that quick third expansion, which does happen from time to time? No, he's not. So what I can do is sort of sit here, get prepared to push, and he is going to have a quick look up the ramp. And is he going to catch a couple of force fields in the face? Yes, he does. Gets a few zealots in his face as well, for what it's worth, and that is not perhaps the best battle for Rossi, unfortunately, being a little bit too preemptive with trying to get up that ramp as quickly as possible. So unfortunately losing quite a lot of his forces there. He's forced back down to 63 supply, but he is going to be sitting here with 3 racks. Of course, we are going to have those medevacs out as well, and the medevacs should be nicely timed to come out at around about that time when that +1 to the weapons is done. As we can see, the building's just switching over here. So the worker count looking good for TT1. He's up to 53 probes, so he's certainly mining quite nicely here at this. Oh, he's actually got 4 probes on one of those gas. I'm pretty sure that one's not intentional, but he is mining quite nicely with all of those probes chrono boosted out. He's researching charge as well to make sure those zealots are doing quite a lot of DPS when they get in the face of those Marines, and +1 to weapons and armor is also done. So we'll find out what the plans for TT1 are in just a second. He is clearing the rocks. I'm sort of interested to see if he's going to go for an attack. He does have a total of 7 gates out now, so he's going to actually have quite a lot of firepower behind this. With charge and +1 already done, he could be looking to go for a push very soon. Now, what have we got from Rossi? He's got a medevac just flying past. I don't know, the pylon would not have seen that because it was in construction, which means that it did not have a normal field of vision. Is the assimilator? Nope, the assimilator is not close enough to see this, so I think TT1 may be caught out by this. The medevac drop now just heading in. He's just going to head up the right-hand side here. Meanwhile, back at home for Rossi, he's trying to find out where these probes are, and he does find one of them was attempting to build a pylon across there, but the drop getting in the back. This is actually a very interesting position here because he's not really going to come under too much zealot fire, but now Rossi targeting down at one of the pylons that's powering some of the gates. He's going to get rid of one. Is he going to get rid of this other huge Artosis pylon down the bottom side? But Rossi also now under threat as well. There are some Archons, some Zealots, some Stalkers, and a few sentries there that are going to try and bust through the middle here. The SCVs have been brought out. A couple of bunkers are also going down. Rossi doing so much damage inside the main, but it finally does get cleaned up. The SCVs now providing a huge meat shield here. The Marauders unable to get inside the bunkers because they were not able to complete in time, or are they? There they are, the bunkers complete. Rossi jumps straight inside, and he is going to deflect all of this because there is only a couple of Archons and then, of course, those sentries left over. Meanwhile, back at the natural expand for TT1, he's taken so much fire here. A Templar getting taken out as well. Stims up, going to run around, try and knock down these Zealots before they can kill the rest of these ground forces, and that is going to be the end of that. So is Rossi going to be able to finish this up? I think he is. It looks like TT1 is going to try and go for a final stand here as well, trying to push inside that natural, but the 2 bunkers are so beefy here. The Marauders as well, providing so much firepower. That +1 there kicking in and doing a great job for Rossi. So Rossi takes a game off Root Gaming's TT1. Congrats to him. That was a very quick but very sort of poignant game with the drops going on and all that sort of stuff. So I hope you enjoyed that one, and I'll see you all next time. Cheers.